Hello and happy June. Today is June 1st, 2020. So this is the unofficial kickoff of me trying to put more effort and excitement into my YouTube channel. And by doing that, I wanted to share with you some of my tarot casting. So this series is called Adventures in Tarot Casting. I will be actually teaching a class on it in October at the Northwest Tarot Symposium. My goal for this series is to do one tarot casting a day for the month of June 2020. I will do a little bit of a show and tell about some of the things that I'm using and some of the items that we create and the artwork that I use for backdrops for my tarot casting. I'm going to give you a little bit of an explanation as to how it came to pass. So what this is my, it's just a regular 9x12 sketchbook, right? Like you can get these at any craft store. I order mine online from Jerry's Artorama, but it's just like a hardbound travel sketchbook. You know, you can hear. And what I did on the cover of this, because I like to make things a little bit more unique, is this is just reflective hula hoop tape. I don't know if that's the technical name for it, but I like how you can see it's just really pretty, right? So I wove that on there. I wanted to give it a little bit of extra because I can tend to be extra. And then I printed out one of the pictures of the moon card for the Out of Hand Tarot, and I cut it and I put it on the cover. And then this sticker here, the death card down in the bottom right, is by my friend Michael Richmond of Shining Moon Studio. And so of course I thought that was fun to put in here. So this is my tarot journal. I use it, you know, I put my stickers in it. I do little notes. This is like a word map of my life path. So if you follow me on any social media, you'll see that 33-6, and that's actually my life path. So, you know, this is kind of like all the things that go along with that. So this is just to show you a little bit of how I do my own tarot journaling. I have some stickers, and these were, you know, my thoughts on that day about the reading. And sometimes I'll draw, you know, a little bit. I had a dream about an iguana, so that came through, and, you know, I like to get creative with my tarot journaling. And so a sketchbook is a perfect place for that because it just makes my brain really happy. So this past weekend, I took a lot of my older paintings, watercolors, marker drawings, some digital art, and I turned them into casting boards. I love functional, creative, functional art. We have plenty paintings all over our walls here in my house, but I like art that I can use, that kind of comes down off the wall, and that's what this is for me. So I repurposed some of my paintings into the backdrops for my casting boards. And I call them casting boards even though they are printed on stickers and they're just in this book. But this gives me a portability option that wherever I go, I can bring these boards with me. The reason I'm giving this long introduction is to let you know that we do have the stickers in our shop, which is jamiesawyer336.com, in case you want to create your own tarot journal. These are all 9x12. The stickers are slightly smaller so that they can fit on the page with a border. If you have our book, the Creative Divination Sessions, that has the casting boards with suggestions on how to use them, a little bit of my own personal backstory. These still fit in there just perfectly in one of the blank pages. So I feel for this demonstration, for this reading, I wanted to use this particular board. Excuse me. So I painted this deer with the woodpecker, probably in around 2012, 2013, and it kind of became my logo for a while. My totem animal, or just, you know, my animal that I resonate with, I'm not trying to use any language that is appropriative, but the animal that I resonate with the most is a deer. I actually have a huge tattoo of one on my stomach. So this deer represents me. And at that time, I was doing a lot of like studying into animals that correspond with your birth and your birth month and all that. And oddly enough, even though I had always been connected with deer, it was only when I got into this, study that I realized that the deer is the animal and the doe is the animal for my birthday, for when I was born. And I just felt like it just made so much sense. And so the deer represents me. It's also an animal that tells us to go gentle with ourselves and to kind of meet ourselves where we are, to observe the world around us before, making any harsh reactions. Although deer can also turn on a dime and just scale a mountain if they need to. They can jump like 6 feet high from a standstill, so they're just such gentle, observant, agile creatures. And the woodpecker here, this red-head woodpecker, excuse me, is to symbolize my partner, Tim. He is born under the sign Cancer, and around his birthday, and I had found in that time that the woodpecker was, an animal that corresponded with his birth date. And we have tons of woodpeckers here in Northeast Pennsylvania. I live in the United States. So wherever you're watching from this video, welcome. I am glad you're here, and I hope that you enjoy it. I promise I'll get to the reading soon. But I just want to let you know, so this original watercolor was done using liquid acrylics. I'm pretty sure I used, I want to say it was either Dr. Martin's or FW, probably FW if I actually think harder about it. And it's not like you don't paint with those the same way you would paint with regular watercolors. You can, but like there's a way in the tattoo world that we do it, and that I was using those techniques when I painted this. So it was kind of like an homage to my relationship, which at that time was still in its new phases. I think Tim and I were together for maybe a year at that point, and here we're celebrating like our 10th year together. So this image has always been very special and dear to my heart, pun intended, right? So a little bit about our casting boards. You'll see on there these spaces, right? So like the circle and then these little spaces, and you're kind of like, well, my cards aren't that small. I mean, maybe you do have some cards that are that small, but give me a little sip of coffee there. So maybe you do have some spaces, but when I started creating these layouts, it's because I have these tiles. If you're new to my world, a tarot tile is what I call them, tarot tiles, because they're literally just little wooden and resin shrunken down miniature versions of decks and tarot decks. And I was like, oh, they're like little tiles. So I started calling them tarot tiles. We've been making these now since like about 2018, I want to say. I used to hand burn the backs, and there was a lot that went into them, but we've upgraded our equipment in the house, and we make them all in-house, but they're more streamlined. So, but these spaces are for those, like I think I have one free one over here just to show you. Oh, look, see? And this is also why the deer are the signifiers in my Lenormand decks. So you can see how they fit in these spaces. The spaces up in the corners, I have circular ones, I have tiny tiles, and I have these smaller versions of my nature portals. So those kind of fit in there. You can use dice, you could use crystals. Perhaps you like crystals in your thing. So here's like a scolecite that I have, or I think that's how you say that, stalactite or scolecite. But see how you could just put them in the corners. And then the big center card is for a regular size tarot card. As you can see, they fit in there. And then the circle is because I made a round oracle deck and I wanted it to fit in there. So that's basically why they have these placements, because you might be looking at it and go, oh, Jamie, that's kind of a big spread. And it's like, yeah, but I'm gonna show you how I use these spreads to come up with a quick reading. Like most of the readings that I do, I have a Patreon, and they are anywhere between 8 and 10 minutes. And it's because I invite you to do some creative play with these casting boards. It's like, I love the idea of a ritual to do a tarot spread. I love the idea of candles and smoke cleansing and all that, but I usually do this stuff really early, like it's 6 a.m. here right now, and my house is asleep. I don't want to get into this huge ritual, but this is my time for me in the morning, and these boards just welcome me into this state, like this scenery, without having the whole ritual, you know, without having setting the intentions, doing that. So like with this board, the deer and the woodpecker, so we could be talking about in what ways do we need to observe the world? In what ways do we need to go gentle with ourselves? In what ways do we need to be like the deer? And then the woodpecker is, you know, known for being a hard worker, when opportunity knocks, things like that. So when I show up to these pages, I already know that the theme is going to be gentler. This isn't one of my darker boards. This isn't a shadow work board. This is one to help me get back to the self, right? It's my roots. It's the first day after my birthday, my 45th solar return. So now I'm starting a whole nother one. I'm entering my tower year. So this board helps me get back to who I am, focused, center, and reminding me to be gentle. So any of the cards is going to kind of already have that gentle nature. So my purpose, again, like I said at the beginning of this, with these videos is to showcase how I do these spreads, but also give you a little reading for the collective. And if you don't happen upon this reading now, and it's maybe a year from now, it might still resonate. You never know. I'm truly believe that when a message falls into your ears, it's for you no matter when it was recorded or when it was, you know, when it was dated. There's a reason why quotes live on past, you know, the life expectancy of the people who said them. It's a reason why we still quote people from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. It's because those messages need to be heard now and here and now. And so I feel like with this, it's a long lot of words to say that if you don't see this video for, you know, another year, then it's still for you. You know, it's for you for whenever you find it. Maybe tidbits will be reflective of, you know, in relation to it, but it's for you for whenever you're watching this video. So let's just get to it, right? I'm going to kind of talk my way through it, but I'm still going to talk the message. This is just how this flows for me. I'm using my pre-prototype for my out-of-hand tarot. I did get the actual factory prototypes yesterday, but I haven't unboxed it yet, and I kind of need to do that first. But the factory prototype has these backs and the yellow edging. But these images are the same. So this is the out-of-hand tarot, and we're gonna go with the center focus. I always pull this card first. And what this does is it gives us the energy for the overall reading, like what we keep coming back to, right? And so in this case, you know, I'm sitting down here and I'm like, okay, we're gonna be gentle with ourselves. We're gonna think about the ways where maybe there's opportunities coming. What do we need to know about that, right? So I do want to let you know real quick why I love casting boards as opposed to tarot cloths. If you notice, I shuffle on the table, so these don't bunch up. I have the hardest, I love the tarot cloths that people make, but I can't use them. I like a hard surface, and this remains rigid, and it just makes me so happy. So we have the Six of Cups. Oh, I love that for this central reading, because like I said, we're talking about reflection. We're talking about remembering who we are, right? So remembering that while the world may feel very chaotic around us, there's a reason that we are all here. There's a reason that maybe we've lost touch with the things that make us happy, the things that bring us joy. So the Six of Cups, I just love that it's like getting back to who we are, getting back to that innocent mind and maybe the childlike wonderment of the memories that make us most happy. Like focusing on those will help to look at the world around us maybe through a new lens, right? So what I do at this point is I bring in an oracle card, because this just gives us the focus. So we're going to be a little bit nostalgic today. We're going to be reflecting on, holy crap, how did I just turn 45? We're going to be, you know, maybe I don't have children, but maybe I'll be doing something today that embraces that childlike wonder. I mean, my whole practice is about play, you know, creative play, divination, playful divination, and that is very childlike because it helps me understand the systems way better. So what I do now is I put an oracle card at the top, and I love that it's right between the deer's ears. So the oracle card gives us an umbrella. It gives us an overall reading, you know, for the entire spread. That's why I say it's funny that I put the center card down first, because I always tuck it behind, because the oracle card isn't visually, it's not there to stand out too much. It's just kind of there to be overlooking the whole thing. So we have the cicada, and last year this time the brood was coming up, the red-eyed cicadas. We had, oh my God, it was deafening here in Northeast PA. It was so loud, you couldn't even talk outside. But they would come in waves and crescendos. It was so beautiful to just stand out there and listen to them. But it talks about change, the transformation that takes time, right? This particular cicada with the red eyes, they spend 17 years underground. 17 years. Think about your life over the past 17 years, assuming that you're older than 17. How much has happened? How much you've transformed? And are you willing now to crawl up out of the dark and scream and sing your story, and then they mate and die? But the whole point of it is this with this overshadowing, it's talking about looking back on your journey, right? Like looking at all the ways you've changed, even as we embark into this new day, this new world, about what is it that we need to go back and change about ourselves in order to move forward, right? So whenever I get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, that made sense, that's when I pull in some tarot tiles. And I always use these spots as tarot tiles. I can't say always, but I primarily use these 4 spots on the side as tarot. And I'll show you in a minute what the other ones are for. Excuse me, grab some tea or coffee again. Spill it on my board. Okay. And so I put these next to it, and we've got the 7 of Cups, the 4 of Wands, Knight of Swords, and the 8 of Wands. And my bags, just real quick, my bags are by my dear best friend, Jenna Diaz of Moonlit Fae. So anytime you see me using a bag in my practice, it is by her. And of course, I have linked her in the notes because I think everybody needs Moonlit Fae bags. But anyway, let's get back to this. So I put these on the side, and they act as if they're leading to this stuff. Like I always kind of feel that this is a past energy and this is a forward energy. And they play together, but they're not all huge, huge readings. Like sometimes I'll look at these and it'll just be like a word, you know, like when I see the 7 of Cups, I think of like choices and illusion versus reality. And then I see the Knight of Swords and I think, okay, the time is now. And then when I see the 4 of Wands, I'm like, okay, it's a time to celebrate. You know, this is the day of the big party that we've been planning for. And then the 8 of Wands is, you know, that movement of coming in fast, coming in quick. So weaving this into this reading, it's what has brought us to this space of needing to look back upon our lives, about how we have transformed, is the choices that we've made, the ones that we were like, oh, that really was not what I thought it was going to be. You know, that's that 7 of Cups. Like, choose wisely. There's no wrong choices, just different paths. The best thing is you get to restart your day at any time. You get to restart your week, your month, your life. You're not beholden to all the decisions you've ever made all the time. It is your right to change your mind. So coming to this point, it's like maybe you've made some commitments, maybe you've picked some things and they worked for you for a while, and you were this Knight of Swords energy. You were going, you were doing the thing, you were speaking the words until you just got tired and needed a rest and didn't want to do it anymore. And then you go back to that drawing board and you go, oh my goodness, is that really where I wanted to be? And now we've brought ourselves to this middle part, you know, this 6 of Cups energy. And then we think about going forward, right? Like, so, okay, I've spent the last 17 years doing X, Y, Z. I've spent the last 10 years doing X, Y, Z. Do I want to continue to do that? That's where we're looking back at this. And then going forward, it's like, I just want to be happy. I want to celebrate the things. I have all these ideas coming in. 8 of Wands. And I love them so much that I want to share them with the world. I want to celebrate them. I want to sing in the streets, you know. So now we get to this point, but how or why, right? So this is where I bring in Lenormand, and I'm using my Flash Lenormand tiles. So the Flash Lenormand is based off of Tattoo Flash. And Tattoo Flash, if you are unfamiliar with this term, is the artwork that is on the walls of a walk-in street shop. It's basically, I don't have an idea, but I want a tattoo. I'm gonna go pick it off the wall in a flash. And that is what Flash is. So if you ever hear that word in regards to the tattoo world, it means it's something that is what they used to say, lick 'em and stick 'em. But so that's why this deck is called that, because the designs look more like tattoos. So we have the snake here and the ship here. And then I'm just gonna put the 3 down here because once I get into that flow, I don't wanna stop. And we have the whip, the stork, and the clover, okay. So on my normal boards, on the ones that are 11 by 14 that are a little bigger, I always do them like this, but because these pages, I wanted to be able to fit it, I just adjusted my own design and have them just kind of standing there. So the purpose of the Lenormand in this is to tether the reading. Oh my gosh, my fingers. Is to tether the reading. Like, so as you saw, this was getting really expansive over here. Like the things that we chose, the, you know, reality wasn't as great as the dream. The Knight of Swords is like, oh, but you did do it anyway, right? You committed, you got to do it. And then you go back here and you find yourself having this little tea party, reflecting on your life, and you're wondering, you know, where do I go to next, you know? But so the snake comes in as part of this past reading with these two, and it says, perhaps you were lied to, or perhaps you were lying to yourself, right? Like, in what ways was there deception? In what ways maybe it was just a small obstacle that you had to overcome, but it took you a long time to get around? Like the detour lasted longer than it should have. So that has brought us into this space of like looking back on our path and seeing where we were really excited about something and then it fizzled out, or, you know, who we were surrounding ourselves at that time that maybe had like a whisper in our ear that set us on this path, on this course of action, until we realized, oh my God, maybe I've been duped, you know? So getting into this center again, you know, see how I kind of always bring it back to the center? How do we go gentle with ourselves? How do we go gentle with this? This whole reading is kind of gentle, right? So we have the cicada talking about the transformation, you know, the cycles of our life in which we get to transform. And our song is not always the same. It continues to change, right? Our stories continue to change. So be gentle with yourself about that and just be excited that you got to experience it. It's through our experiences that we're able to sit together, have a cuppa, and allow our imagination to continue to soar. It's only in that we get to move forward and celebrate all the new ideas coming in. And paired with this ship, it's talking about these opportunities, these ideas, the celebrations come from afar. They come from all over the world. They are going to be our way into reaching new shorelines. You know, I use some of the Lenormand readings, but sometimes I look at it as like, what does a ship do? It brings us to places, you know, port to port. That's why in Lenormand, this is like a card for commerce. It's a card for, you know, perhaps travel, you know, maybe you're going on a trip. I look at this, you know, now that the world's sort of reopening from the pandemic, we've got conferences again, and online conferences are ceasing. I mean, they're hybrids now, but like they are going into being able to be in person again, and which in October I will be traveling on a plane, so a modern day ship to Portland, Oregon, across the country, in order to celebrate the ideas that I have, in order to teach this kind of stuff in person. I'm so excited about it. But that is the future, right? That's talking about things that we're going to do. Why do we want to celebrate? Why do we want to do these things? Because we want to connect with new people. We want to make sure that our ideas and the things that really come in fast for us, that give us those, oh my gosh, I have to do this, are able to reach more than just us. I feel like that is part of our purpose a lot of times. And then the Lenormand underneath, I use them as action steps. I use them kind of to sum up the reading, because I could talk all day, and I know you don't want me to talk all day. And I said, oh, these only take 10 minutes, but because I'm explaining through it, this is how it's happening. So we've got the whip, the stork, and the clover. And the stork, I generally tend to look at it in the center and then reading like this with Lenormand. So the stork is talking about all the times that we're trying to level up, and maybe we keep going back and forth. Like there's a yeah, but there's a slight detour. There's something that keeps happening. And so it's that back and forth, back and forth. I want to move, but I can't. I want to do this, but this. So the stork is saying, okay, yes, that maybe you were trapped in this cycle of discord, of back and forth, of just, it's safer in the back and forth than it is to really spread your wings and fly for these little opportunities that are coming. Little opportunities have a tendency to turn into big opportunities. So while you can reflect, you don't have to be, yo-yoed or bungeed back here in staying in this pattern. You can move forward and take those opportunities and see where they take you in the world. Yeah, see how that like sums up the reading? I always love it. It seems to happen for me like that, which is exciting. So then you may be saying, but what about those four corners, Jamie? What about those four corners? I'll tell you about the four corners. I showed you the portal, so I'm going to use these today. We did have these for a while in the shop, which are the points to ponder dice. And sometimes I like to use those where I'll just drop it in here in the corner and see what word comes up. I haven't been using them a lot lately because we're having supply chain issues, and I want to be able to offer the things that we make to you. So I'm not going to use those for this reading. I'm going to use my small portals. These are the tiny. And these give us guideposts. They're kind of just, if this is the main structure of the reading, then these are the pillars that kind of surround it. They're accents. They give you things to just ponder throughout the day or the week or wherever you are when you get this. And we've got dragonfly, chipmunk, blue jay, and bees. If you can see that, if they focus in on them. So the dragonfly, one of the things that always comes for it's bouncing into this transformation. The dragonfly is saying sometimes you have to completely change yourself in order to fly. I think about that all at once. It comes in, and I think dragonflies live the first part of their life as these weird little nymphs in the water in pond areas, and then they literally transform themselves. They go through a complete metamorphosis, sprout wings, and fly. So in what ways do you need to just change yourself completely in order to get to your goals? Chipmunk, be playful about it. I love chipmunks. They're one of my most favorite little woodland creatures. We have them around here. They always seem like they're up to no good, but they always seem like they're playful, they're territorial, they're just so fun. So like, at what way can you fly and share what it is that you want to share, but also make it fun, make it playful for everyone, for you mostly, and then everybody around you will be like, oh, well, they look like they're having a lot of fun. Let's laugh with them. Let's play with them. The blue jay, I always think about using your voice. The blue jay we have them in abundance here. They're loud. You always know when they're coming in. They are not shy. They want to be heard, and they want to be seen, and they are going to let the world know. So where is it that you need to use your voice in order to be seen and heard, right? And then we got the bees, and the bees are the pollinators of the world. The bees are so essential. You can be small, but valuable. Don't think that your task is too little. Whatever it is that you feel your purpose is, get out there and do it, because you don't know how much it's going to affect the world at large, right? So that's your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments. I want to set the tone here since I am kind of new to YouTube. I will not put up with bullies. I am not here for arguments. I'm not here to have people tell me that the way that I read is wrong, because it is my personal way of reading and you don't get to dictate what is right and wrong in my world. So if you are a person who likes to troll people, then just, I'm not even going to engage. I won't even leave your comments up because I don't want that kind of energy in my space. I'm an adult, I'm mature, so that's it. But if you have questions and you want me to explain something further, then by all means, put that in the comments. I would love to talk more about this. I love this work. I love sharing my art and showing you how tarot is the ultimate tool of functional art for me, and how if you go at it from a space of integrity and love, it can really transform your world. I never imagined that tarot would transform my world the way that it has. So please let me know in the comments if this reading resonated, and if it didn't, maybe it will down the road, who knows. But I welcome you to playful divination, creative divination, the adventures in tarot casting, and I'm so happy you're here. So I will see you tomorrow for the next board and the next reading, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.